Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be we're going to carry on with our tone boxes and we're going to try and add them on to some of these forms that we've produced earlier on. Now, for this we're going to need, I'm just going to do this in pencil. This is what I did earlier on with a different class, and we're going to think about where the light comes from. We're going to need a pencil, probably a pen. If you have a thick pen, that's even better. If not, we can just, if you've watched the other videos, we can go over, you know how we can do it with the black pencil, etc. Well, I'm also going to use a ruler. Now, if you don't have a ruler, that's okay. You can use the edge of a packet of post-it notes. You can use something off the edge of your door card, or some kind of bank card or something like that. So I'm going to start off with this one. Now I'm going to start thinking about where the light is coming from. Now in this case, I'm going to imagine my light source is over here. Now, depending on how strong that light source is, the tone is going to act differently. If it's very, very strong, some of the bit that's further away will be in real darkness. But I think we're just going to go, this one I'm going to imagine it just like a light bulb, like I did in this other one here, like that. So, if I imagine the light's going to come down and it's going to hit onto this surface. Now, this surface here will be the lightest. So this surface will probably be a tone 1. Whereas this surface, the one that's opposite the light source, so down here, will probably be the darkest, which will probably be a tone 4. And I'll make this one a tone 3, like that. Yeah. So I've got 1, 4, and 3. Now, we think about how I made these differences in tone. I did them by layers, and it's going to do the same process here. I'm just going to build up layers on top of the surface. So I'm going to start by using my ruler as a mask. Now, a lot of times when you're masking things up, it might be because you're working with pens, or you may be working with spray and things like that. So you do different masks, but this is just a little mask. Now, I'm not going to worry about going over here because I could really easily rub this out over here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go over that as a tone 1. Now, you probably won't be able to see my tone 1 because, as we know from our tone box, it's very, very light. So I'm going to keep that really, really light. And then I'm going to take out my little bit of extra over the side there, just rub it out like that. So I've got that and it's nice and sharp. Now at this point, I'm going to turn my page, and I haven't been doing this in the other videos. It's just that it's really hard for me to do this without actually turning my page. So I'm going to turn my page and I'm going to pop that on like that. Now that is important because if I go up and over here, my pencil goes onto here. So if I use that mask, I can then just get right in to there and I can build up my tone on that surface. Now the same as before, I'm going to build up a little bit more pressure and a little bit more, another layer on top, so a little bit harder and a little bit. So I'm pressing a little bit firmer. We can see the difference between those two. So now I'm going to turn my page again, and this time I'm going to render this surface. Now what I haven't talked about, which I should have talked about, is the direction of my pencil. Now if you think about this surface as lying flat in this direction, so I want to move my pencil either that way or I want to move it that way, because it's going to accentuate, it's going to make that look like it's sitting on that direction. So for the same reason, I could move my pencil for this one this way or this way. And this one I could either move up and down like that vertically, or I could go back at that angle there. So I'm going to turn my page again, and I'm going to give it a couple of just a second to actually focus. Is that in focus? There we go, back in focus. And this time I'm going to go down this way. Again, I might have to move my mask up just slightly. Now, if you remember when we did the other tone boxes, I actually went to a darker pencil. So I went to a slightly softer pencil. So I'm going to see if I can get enough of a difference with a couple of layers like that. Let's have a little look. Have I got enough of a difference? Probably not. So I'm going to go to my slightly darker pencil, or slightly softer pencil, and I'm going to put in another layer of tone over the top. Again, I'm not worried about going over the edge at the bottom. Alright, so I look back there, I'm like, yeah, I can see the difference between tone 1, I'll turn it around this way, tone 1, tone 3, and tone 5. So they're about right. So I'm going to take my rubber this time, and I'm just going to rub out the bit that's extra at the bottom of that one, the bit of extra at the bottom of that one, and I've got my rendered cube like that. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to put in my emphasis lines on the corners. Now in this case, because it's just a simple object, I know when the spider crawls around over there, that line becomes dark. I know when the spider crawls over there, that one becomes dark. Now I'm going to work my way around thinking, does the spider appear or disappear? So in here, I can still see him, so that's still light. And if you haven't watched the other videos, that'll make no sense to you at all, but if you haven't, go back and watch that one. Now at this point, I've got this corner, and I want to emphasize it. I want to try and make it stand out a bit more. So I've got a couple of choices. I can either go back in, and I can add in a darker corner, and that'll give the illusion it comes forward, like that, a little bit. Now, it works a little bit better when you're here, rather than it loses a little bit on the camera, so I'm just going to darken that in pen. I wouldn't usually at this point, but like that. Or I could take my rubber and I could actually remove a bit. You get special tools for this. You get like a little razor shields that have little gaps in them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own. I just took one of my post-it notes and I'm going to very, very quickly just take that, put it on that edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rubber and I'm just going to take out a little highlight on that edge and a little highlight on that edge too. So I've got a little highlight on there, and I'll zoom in on that if you bear with me. Like that. So that is my final render. I'm sorry for the slightly wobbly camera work, and in the next one we'll go back and we'll render some of the other more complex blocks. Okay, thanks for watching.